برنامه نوروزی در پارلمان اروپا. سخنان دکتر آلخو ویدال کوادراس، نایب رئیس پارلمان اروپا، استران استیونسون، رئیس هیئت رابطه با عراق، جیم هیگینز، عضو هیئت رئیسه پارلمان اروپا، یان زهرادیل، رئیس گروه محافظه‌کار رفرمیست پارلمان اروپا، تون کلام، عضو کمیسیون خارجه پارلمان اروپا.
Good evening to you all. Be very welcome to this celebration of the Persian New Year. My first words must be, of course, Happy Nowruz to you all. I think it's a very good idea to celebrate New Year at the beginning of the spring. It's really something with a very deep meaning, and this meaning is very appropriate for the Iranian democratic movement, for the Iranian resistance, because what we want, you and we, members of European Parliament, that share your works and your fight and your project for a free Iran, we all really want to see this Persian New Year as the beginning of new times for Iran. As you all are aware, there are many members in this parliament, there are some of them here, that have been working with you for a very long time and sharing your suffering and your endeavor, but we also share your dreams and your hopes that one day Iran will be a full democracy and will be a country where human rights, where rule of law, where equality between men and women, where all kinds of freedoms are respected. In fact, after all these years, some of us, we feel like part of a big family in which we are all together, you and us. And that's why I see this celebration today as a kind of family celebration. And I want to have a very special mention for our friends in Ashraf that have been supporting this difficult situation for the last 2 years with this psychological torture, these cuts in supplies, this mistreatment of sick people. And you can be sure that we do everything in our hand to alleviate their situation, and we permanently communicate with United Nations, with the European Commission, with the High Representative for Foreign Policy and Security of the European Union in order to help them and to make public our permanent watching of what is happening in Ashraf.
First of all, let me say Happy New Year. I think it's very important that we remember, first of all, those people who, as Alejo pointed out, are inside Ashraf, and as such are the symbolic face of opposition to the tyranny of the mullahs in Tehran. They are the people this evening that we should remember. They are the people that have suffered for years now, and for the past 2 years the tyranny and the psychological torture of 210 loudspeakers. Shame on the Iraqi government that they allow that torture to continue. Shame on the Iraqi government that they stop access to medical facilities, that they block and threaten to block food supplies and water supplies and fuel supplies. So let us all this evening send our best wishes and a Happy New Year to everybody in Ashraf. It's very interesting to see the way the situation has dramatically changed in the US. We now have senior officials from the former Clinton, Bush, and even the Obama administrations supporting the PMOI, supporting the NCRI, supporting the people in Ashraf, demanding that the MEK be taken off the US terror list. And of course, inevitably, we have seen a hysterical reaction from those who pretend that they represent what they call the Green Movement. They pretend that they are the official opposition. In fact, we know and we see the fingerprints of the MOIS on all of their utterances in cyberspace and in the media. They are claiming that any reaction to taking the MEK off the US terror list would lead to the mullahs cracking down on the Green Movement. Well, we know that the Green Movement, in fact, is not the realistic opposition inside Iran at all. Musavi, when he was Prime Minister in the 1980s, he had jurisdiction over the execution of tens of thousands of political prisoners, most of them MEK supporters. To pretend now that he would introduce some new version of the clerical regime is an absolute joke, an absurdity. And those people that are writing and going on cyberspace in the United States claiming to represent the Green Movement, they actually are the agents of the mullahs themselves, and they should not be listened to. But when we see people like Governor Bill Richardson, Judge Mukasey, General Jones coming out openly in support of the MEK and the NCRI, then, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the tide is turning in our direction. We have seen the Arab Spring erupting all over the North Africa and the Middle East. And we have even seen ludicrously Ahmadinejad and Khamenei saying that they support the uprisings in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Libya, and then crushing ruthlessly anyone who takes to the streets in protest inside Iran. We have not missed the irony of that in the West. So while we welcome the Arab Spring, let's also welcome the Persian Spring and hope that this new year will see freedom, democracy, justice, women's rights returned to a free Iran. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm coming, as you probably know, from the part of Europe which suffered for more than 40 years under the rule of totalitarian and completely oppressive regime. So believe me, when we talk about tyranny, when we talk about oppression, when we talk about totality, we who are coming from Central and Eastern Europe, we know very well what we are talking about. And this is the reason, and it has been the reason, and this always will be the reason, why we stick with you and we stay with you in your own fight for human rights, for liberty, and for freedom. I am very proud that this was under my country's presidency when the PMOI was delisted from EU blacklist. I very much await the decision which I hope will be made in the foreseeable future by US authorities as well. As Sren mentioned, that the mood is now changing even there. And let me say that I have been always very proud to share the same building and the same institution with people like Alejo and with people like Struan, who even in time when they were under tremendous